Philanthropic Service for Institutions is pleased to have collaborated with Adventist Community Services in preparing a series of webinars. While these have been designed for the community service personnel, the content of these is also highly relevant and important for many Adventist organizations, and we invite all of you to look at these. We are also grateful to the many good speakers who have participated in this effort, and we thank them. The first in the content series is on the 7 deadly sins that hinder successful fundraising. Fundraising is a process, it's a serious effort, and the lifeblood of our organizations. And we want to look at some of the misconceptions, some of the mistakes, some of the misdirected efforts that hinder us in carrying out our fundraising successfully. The first of these could come under the rubric of give me the 10 easy steps. There are no 10 easy steps in fundraising. It is a process, it's a thoughtful process, an organized approach to managing the financial and human resources that are necessary in order to raise funds. It's a team effort. A fundraiser has a very difficult time being a solo performer for some reasons that we will show you later in this presentation. Also, fundraising requires an investment of resources, of time, money, commitment, and staff. Very important is a matter of accountability in fundraising, good management, a well-organized effort, communication, and, of course, excellent customer service. And finally, we need to recognize that fundraising takes time. These are the underlying principles that promote success in fundraising, and never give in to the fact that perhaps somebody out there has 10 easy steps. It is too much of a serious process that is truly important to the success of our organizations. Then comes the next sin of, but we're different. We really aren't. We live in a society that we are a part of, and in many ways our donors are going to be similar, if not identical, to the donors to many other organizations in the United States, in North America, in Canada. For example, as we look at these well-researched reasons for why people give, we can see that all of these apply to an Adventist organizational setting. For example, people like to give because they want to see something change for the better. People give because they can expect outcomes that we promise them. People also give because they might be able to identify with the cause. And let's not forget that every research study that investigates why people don't give, the results are that they're not asked to give. Moving on, another misperception is that fundraising is for secular organizations, not us. If we look at research conducted by the Center on Philanthropy at Indiana University, and at the contributions that came in 2010, we can see that the 4 major sources of funds amounted to over $290 billion. This is not counting government money, which also sometimes helps Adventist institutions. And when we look at where this money goes, we can see that at the very top is religion. So no, Adventist organizations are not different because we have religion, education, human services, and the other subsectors of the nonprofit sector, and religion is definitely at the top. Going on to the next deadly sin, God says to give, so we don't need to ask. However, as we have seen earlier on some of the motivations of why people give, today's church member is also affected by this set of motivations, and no longer can a church member in general be expected to give just because God said to give. Our church members, who are also our donors, among others, want to be informed. They want to be involved. They want to know what their money does. They don't want to be taken for granted. They want to be thanked. And this affects how we are going to ask for their support. Regrettably, there has been an increasing lack of trust due to a lack of transparency. This matter of transparency, or accountability, has been a major issue for some time and is not likely to go away. We need to be open with what we do with the money that is entrusted to us. Of course, we will not forget our faith in God. It's strong. If our organizations are those that serve God, yes, we can expect God's blessing, but we also have to do our part. Then we come to another deadly sin that states, that's fine, but it won't work here. Unfortunately, this is often said in conjunction with another deadly sin. Yes, but we're different. In today's environment, across the board in the nonprofit sector, of which churches and community service organizations and educational institutions and all the rest are part of, we need to have an open mind about what works today. Fundraising has many other benefits besides just bringing in the funding. If people give, they are much more likely to be an advocate for the organization or the cause. And fundraising helps us improve the cause, add to the cause, do it better, and keep it sustainable. Also, when people give, as the Bible says, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. People become more loyal to the organization and will work and give to see it succeed on behalf of its clients. Very important is to recognize that fundraising is not begging or selling, and we should not ask for funds for the Lord's work with an apology. We should have the appropriate pride in being able to carry out causes because that's what the money is for. And finally, fundraising is a way to help these causes succeed. Causes which help people in the way that Jesus would. Then there's another deadly sin that is very counterproductive, but we've always done it this way. We cannot afford to say that because times change and the way that we must carry out the management of our organization in order to serve our clients also changes. What worked before 20, 15, even 10 years ago may not work now. But if we don't change with the times, if, for example, we don't use social media in our fundraising, if we're not as transparent as our donors would like, what will happen? We also have to ask ourselves, how much better can we do? And what else do we need to or want to do? So doing it the way we've always done it is truly counterproductive. Never mind that it's probably boring as well. Then we come to one of these warm thoughts, God will provide. I'm definitely a believer in the fact that God intervenes on behalf of those who try to serve His causes and others. But we cannot be presumptuous. Fundraising will succeed when certain factors are in place. When there is strong leadership at all levels, the lay leadership, the administrative leadership, all kinds of leadership need to be involved in appropriate ways. When there is also a supportive infrastructure, do we have a good record-keeping system so that we don't forget to thank a donor? Are we able to record the donations in such a way that we can report on what a donor's money did? Also, what about communication with all of our constituents? Sometimes our organizations are the best kept secret in a town. We cannot afford to do that because, after all, we do need to let our light shine. Then we also need to understand that it takes money to raise money, and at the same time have accountability and attention to efficiency, which how well is the money used, and effectiveness, what does it really accomplish. And finally, we do this prayerfully. We trust God to give us wisdom to carry out that work. To simply say God will provide truly is abdicating our part of the responsibility. Finally, fundraising is the right person asking the right prospect for the right cause in the right way, for the right amount, and at the right time. This is one of the adages of the fundraising school at the Center of Philanthropy at Indiana University. It is a very important set of rights because it reminds us, coming back to the very beginning of this short presentation, that fundraising is a process. It is not a solo performance by just one person because there is the right person asking the right prospect. It means that we have the ability to express our causes and make a strong case for why our causes deserve support and what outcomes we can tell our donors to expect. So remember these 6 rights, but as we think about these 6 rights and the process of fundraising, let's also remember that it's not about the money. Of course the money is important because money helps carry out good causes, but that's where it's at. It's about good causes that have a price tag. We at Philanthropic Service for Institutions wish you the best as you go on with your fundraising program, and I invite you to listen to the other webinars in this series and also contact us with any questions or needs, and we will do our best to be of service to you. May God bless you in your efforts.